Well, it doesn't matter if it's a preseason game or a regular season game. That it's pros versus pros. You got to protect the football and you got to take it away. I mean, you don't think it makes a difference, but when all's said and done, how a Jim Harbaugh team will play. They won 11 games last year. And when you look at the 11 games, even though they had Justin Herbert, it wasn't because they were doing anything offensively. They had the number one scoring defense, giving up 17.5 points a game, which was first in the NFL. Well, today, we had 13. So, look at their winning formula. A total defense, they ended up being number 7 in the NFL. They were top 10 against the run and the pass. But more importantly, because I talked about the turnover margin, they were plus 12 last season in turnover margin. We were minus 6. So just look at the records. Something as simple as that. Now, the Chargers have played 2 preseason games because they played in the Hall of Fame game. You know why they waxed the Lions?
Turnovers.
The Lions had 5 turnovers. I don't know. I looked today. What was the turnover margin? Saints minus 2. I don't care whether you're fumbling the ball, you throw an interception. So they had 1 turnover. We had 3.
Right, they're muff punt.
So, yeah. And I don't know how they got that second one. They should have had, I don't know how we didn't land on that ball.
Bad luck.
Yeah, that guy ain't returning no punts anymore. you might have to go do something else. But when I look at something as simple as that, and you want to know like an outcome of the game and when because the preseason games don't count. And then you can go 4-0. The Saints one season, I think, went 4-0 and was garbage in the regular season. And you can go 0-4. The team that I know that's had success in the preseason and they win is the Baltimore Ravens and John Harbaugh. But other than that, I mean, I don't know if you're just playing hard and you're getting better. Now, we got to get better against the Jaguars. You want to get better against the Broncos heading into that first game against the Cardinals to give yourself a chance to win. But this is not good. We can't tell because in practice they don't tackle, damn it. So you don't know who's tackling who. Oh, I would have got him. I saw a couple of times where maybe they bounced out. We didn't have containment, and they had a big run. Now, this needs to be reversed. We average 3.1 yards a carry. They average 4.4.
Boo.
So that's 4.5 to 3, basically. So we need to average that 4.5 a run. That's going to help our young quarterbacks, and our defense has to be more stout against the run. Now you might say, well, Bobby, take away the quarterback runs. Why take away the quarterback runs? Don't that count? You don't think Kyler Murray, the Cardinals, I think he can run a little bit. He's like a June bug. He's going everywhere. We're looking at Trey Lance. He had 7 carries, 7-yard average. 6.9. So that's 7 yards. That's too much. He had a long gain of 17. A couple of times, he ended up scoring a touchdown on a run, and then he made first downs with his feet. I think overall, when you look at it, I don't know. This is a mixed bag. They ended up being 6 of 14 on third down, 43%. I thought we'd have been better than that, considering that we had in the game. I don't know if this is when you think your defense is really kicking ass. We had 3 straight 3-and-outs.
That was a positive.
Yeah, that glass half full. 3-and-out, 3-and-out, 3-and-out. So the offense got to take advantage of those kind of scenarios. We end up forcing 5 3-and-outs in the game. So I'm like thinking, well, but they end up being in 6 of 14. Now, we as an offense, that's not good. You ain't winning anything. You're not having sustained drives. We had 3 of 13, 23%. I'm not saying you got to be Drew Brees-like and be 50%. You might say, well, Bobby, how do you know so much about third down? I led a team in 1992. We were first in the NFL, 48.5% third down conversions. I don't care if you conserve or not. Can you move the chains? First down, Saints. All I know, 3 and 13. I don't care who's playing quarterback. That's not getting it. Sometimes I think you want to hit those chunk plays. But like even at the end, when Hayner came in and he threw that interception, that, okay, we're losing by 10 points. Live to fight another day. Hit the check down, then you're still in field goal range, and you make the kicker, you got to make it. You make the field goal, then you're only down by 1 score.
Correct.
Versus all of a sudden you look at 27-10 or whatever, and then you have no chance. Those are the little things that I think as a quarterback you need to mature, get to that point. I was kind of worried at halftime. I talked about this. And we got to be more disciplined. You can't be having 5 penalties at a half. We had 5. And these are guys we're counting on in the first half. Now, we ended up finishing good. We were 5 penalties for 36 yards. You know, I said you're never going to have 9 penalties or more or having around 100 yards. We were better in the second half because we only had 2 penalties. We ended up 7 for 56. That's acceptable. Now, they only had 4 for 18. But we had 5 for 56, considering we had 7 for 56, considering we had 5 for 36 yards in that first half. So when you look at the positive and negatives, when I look at like who really contributed at a high level, and this is Alvin Kamara stat, because you look at like total yards from scrimmage, whether as a running back or as a receiver or return yardage, where we're outstanding? Our kick return game. Coach Galliano, you got to give him a lot of credit, because you got a different boss now. Now it's the same scheme. But look at Kendrick Miller. He had a 36-yard kick return. That's winning football. Look at Velus Jones Jr. He had a long kick return of 46. So when I combine what they did rushing, catching, and those returns, Velus Jones Jr. had 88 yards total, and Kendrick Miller had 60. Now, Velus Jones Jr., Steve, the way he's been running in practice, not only had one attempt, more. He had -1 yards. I'm like, what?
None of the running backs were getting it.
Yes, he wants to maybe hit a big play. Like Spencer Rattler ended up leading the team with 7.3. Kendrick Miller, 2.5. No. Now, like Deuce says, too, they got to block for him. You got to give him a hole. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, 1.5 yards. No. Again, I don't know, from last year, we got new coaches and all that, and I looked at it. Are we running the football and we stopping the run? I would say no.
No to both.
When they average in 4.5 and we average, they average in 4.5 and we average in 3.
Run game, both sides of the ball, a problem still.
Yeah, so that has to be addressed. Hopefully it's a better picture going against Jacksonville come next Sunday, and then obviously to close out the season on Saturday against the Broncos before we have to face the Cardinals, when it all counts to kick off the season. Now, I thought Tyler Shuck handled adversity. I've been there. A pick 6, a cornerback squat, and they cheat, and you can't let them cheat. That's why we end up getting the touchdown to Tipton, a double move. You can't let them squat. Squat means they're just sitting on a route, whether it's an inside or outside breaking route, and especially in the NFL, no, you will give up pick 6s. And that's why you cannot let them just sit on routes. You have to double move them. Now, you have to have longer protection when you're doing a double move route. And the one that Tipton, look how wide open he was. Because the damn cornerback for the Chargers, he's trying to cheat. That's why he got burnt. And he got burnt. Tipton had that one catch, 54 yards for a touchdown, and he could fly. So good for the coaches and the play call to help Shuck out to be able to have that kind of play, considering he had threw an interception before that. And I thought, overall, it's a mixed bag. I don't know. It's like a roller coaster for all the quarterbacks, whether it's Spencer Rattler, Tyler Shuck, or Jake Hayner. Now, Shuck ended up being 15 of 22 for 165 yards. I think he did settle down. He had that one chunk play, like I said, to Tipton. Rattler was 11 of 7. But even your pocket presence, when they coming in there, and you might say, well, Bobby, it's easier said than done, that you cannot fumble. And Spencer Rattler's done this before, fumbling in the pocket. And you got to be able to protect that football. He has to avoid that. Now, I think Hayner sometimes, he's tough. He has moxie, but sometimes he tries to make too many big plays where, like, remember I told you, take the dump off, get the field goal instead of getting that interception on the latter part of the game. And when you look at it, that's how you stand out. I don't know. Who's this Rogers guy for them? From Rutgers?
Yes.
You don't think that catches the coach's eye? You have 2 interceptions, 3 passes defending, and you make a tackle on special teams? That's what you do, trying to do no matter who you're playing for, to have that kind of outcome and to catch the coach's attention. Looking at Cedric Wilson Jr. and then Austin. Austin ended up having 4 catches and 42 yards, long gain 17. Cedric Wilson, 3 catches, 37 yards. So I can tell you right now what I look at. These three people have to stay healthy, or we ain't even winning 5 games. We don't have a chance. We need Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed, and right now tight end Jawan Johnson. They have to be healthy. You might say, "Oh, Bobby, next man up." Oh, well, no. I'm just telling you right now. And then Steve, I've been bragging on him. The tight end, he's been catching.
Jack Stoll.
Jack Stoll's been catching everything in practice. Then he decides to drop it in the game. Come on, dude. You're fighting your behind off. This is your 5th year. You're a veteran. He's coming over from the Dolphins, and he's been catching everything. But when it counts in the game, that's when for sure you cannot afford a drop because that's your drive killer. So now instead of having a first down moving the chains, you have to punt. So I'm just looking at our weapons, where we at offensively. I think the backs will come along and help. Alvin Kamara. But as far as our top 2 receivers and tight end, I'm just telling you, I think those guys are going to have to stay healthy, or it could be a long season. But got to look at the glass. It's only one preseason game. You have to look at the glass half full instead of half
blocks,
empty.
right?
Yeah, and you got to have somewhat patient. Now, how you can be patient is like, okay, I'm not saying we got to beat the Jaguars, but we have to look a little bit better than we did against the Chargers.
A lot cleaner. Cut down the turnovers.
Yeah,
cut down the penalties.
how about we be +2? How about we play the Jaguars and we create 3 takeaways and maybe give it up once? Those little things can be the difference whether you win or lose. Now, as far as guys contributing and trying to make the team, I think you were right on. When you gave this diamond in the rough,
Isaiah.
I don't know if you can find
Not
a better.
Foskey, but Stolberg.
Yeah, Isaiah, Foskey. Foskey still don't contain. He missed a couple of tackles anyway. I'm not going to get on Foskey today. But you look at Isaiah Stolberg, South Dakota State, the Jackrabbits. I tell you what, he had a special teams game that I don't think he could do this every game. He'd be all pro. He would be a combination of Chris Banjo and J.T. Gray.
Hello.
All pro. He had 4 tackles. You know how hard it is to get 4 tackles in one special teams game? If you times that times 17.
And then his tackle for loss, he laid a lick.
Yeah, you're all pro. So he had 3 unassisted special teams tackles, 1 assisted. If you look at 4 combined tackles, he had a tackle for loss. So that catches the coach's eye, a lot of attention. You know who hasn't caught the coach's eyes as far as in practice? And I know they're counting on him because they drafted him, when you look at it, in the 5th round, Jalen Ford from Texas.
Right. When we talked to Deuce pregame, though, he did say those L.A. sessions, he was starting to wake up a bit.
Maybe
that California air.
Because he looks the part. He looks like Tarzan.
Does.
He looks like Tarzan will play like Tarzan. Look, he stepped up. He had 8 total tackles. So good for him being active. Now, another one that was more active compared to we took notes in New Orleans. Now, this is a diamond in the rough. This is like the Zach Strief, Marcus Colston. Bobby, what are you talking about? No, this cat was drafted in the 7th round. I don't know now how could he, if you're a 7th-round pick, he's not going to start. But can he provide the depth and maybe contribute on special teams? If you look at, how you say his first name?
Fidel Diggs, yeah.
Like Fidel Castro,
there you
but
go.
Okay, that's how I remember that. Okay, Fidel Diggs.
Nice day.
Look at that, 6'4", 257, the rookie out of Syracuse, drafted in the 7th round. That would be honorable mention. Okay, I'll give Stolberg, diamond in the rough. We're going to give Diggs honorable mention. He had 4 total tackles, a sack, and 2 tackles for a loss. Now, this cat got ripped off. I like him because he played good. And I think I could see him being a part of the rotation with the Saints or some other team, and that being Christian Boyd.
Yeah.
You know how I'll always remember Christian Boyd, too? Because at times I'm saying he's the real player from Northern Iowa. Not, Trevor Penning. But Trevor Penning, he got hurt? I mean, that's like, come on, Trevor. He got that one holding. That was holding. You can't throw the guy to the ground. They're going to call that all the time.
So he got injury
holding.
And a penalty today.
Yeah. And so the real Northern Iowa player today was Christian Boyd. If you look at, he ended up with a sack. I thought that should have been a safety. But I guess if you're starting to make contact on like the half-yard line, the 1-foot line, I guess they look at the forward progress. But we could have been winning 2-0. You remember last year we went out to the L.A. playing the Chargers. Didn't Taysom Hill influence a punt or something? We were up 2-0 in that game. But Christian Boyd ended up having a quarterback hurry. He had a sack. and he also had a tackle for loss. So when you look at his contribution and where he's at, I mean, look, here's a guy drafted in the 6th round. That's kind of a diamond in the rough. That 6'2", 320. So could he be in that rotation to back up Godshaw? And can you count on? Well, that's the kind of games you have to have. So those are those up-and-coming players that really it bode well for the Saints. You got to see it. You know how the coaches say, well, I'll see it in practice, and I want to see it in a game? Well, that'd be the perfect example for Mason Tipton. So Mason Tipton, now, can you build upon this and maybe come up big time instead of big chunk plays like maybe 3 or 4 or a handful of receptions playing against the Jaguars or Jacksonville or the Broncos before we kick off the season? But again, the score doesn't matter. 27-13, I know it looks ugly, like, the Saints must have got whooped. I look more in the fundamentals of football and how we have to get better, and Coach Staley needs to demand this, and all runs count. Quarterback runs count. We got to be able to stop the run and being able to run the football, and that's winning up front. And I'm still concerned with the depth on the offensive line and what's going to come about there because the better offensive line play, I should say, that we get, our quarterbacks will play better. I think they'll learn to be productive quarterbacks to be able to lead this team.